it's not snowing. This book signing was very special for Lorraine and I, who tried to do this around Christmas, and it didn't quite work out. And ironically, after Jim Luce's Luce Foundation event, we all went to dinner at the Palm, spoke about it in front of Daniela, and I said, I hope we get to do your book signing soon. And Daniela said, well, what's wrong with Space 16? I said, nothing. So here we are in beautiful Space 16, and it all came together nicely and without a lot of trying, because it was meant to be, and I think everyone here was meant to be here tonight. And I think that Mitzi's book is very inspirational, and all the proceeds of it will go to charity, which you'll hear about, and Mitzi was very generous in offering that. And I don't want to take up your time, but thank you for coming.
Really, really appreciate what you've done. Thank you so much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have a theory about all of you,
half of your audience,
which is that nobody wants to stand up for a long time. So I have decided that I am only going to talk for exactly 8 minutes. I have something that's going to like go bing when 8 minutes are up. I was impressed that Frank, as a captain of industry and a tough man, had a romantic side. He'd always send me 24 red roses at Valentine's, and something that really impressed me, touched and moved me, delighted me, was he'd include with the roses some wonderful little handwritten love messages, always in French. I have a favorite memory of this side about Frank. He was a passionate tennis fan and would go to Wimbledon each year for the matches. One year, as we walked to the tube on our way to get to where the matches were being played, we passed a store window that was the most enchanting china pattern in it. It was gold and green and had beautiful birds painted on it. I could see it on our dining room table during a dinner party, along with gorgeous white linens and tall candles. They were so beautiful, I yearned for them. And of course, I began hinting maybe they'd be nice to have. Each time we walked by them, which was maybe 6 times because we were there a week, I'd hint and hint and hint for all I was worth. Nothing seemed to register. We were leaving London on Sunday morning, and on Saturday, I knew the shop closed at 6 p.m. That Saturday evening, I watched with a heavy heart as 6 p.m. came and went and the store was now closed. No more chance of getting that lovely china. A half an hour or so later, Frank suggested that we go out for dinner. We got in a cab, and pretty soon the cab pulled up at a restaurant that was just next door to the shop with the china. I felt a twinge of sadness to be so near the china that I thought was so beautiful, now with no possibility of ever getting it. We got out of the cab and were heading toward the restaurant, but then I stopped in my tracks. There was a small light inside the closed china store. I took a few steps closer and could now see through the window of the darkened store that someone was standing inside holding high a candelabra with 3 lit candles. In the other hand, butler style, he was holding a tray with a champagne bottle and 3 glasses. Don't lose focus, everybody. At this point, Frank said, all casualness, "Oh, look, the store you liked is still open. Want to go in?" As he was entering the store, he was beaming like a little boy. He had arranged for the store to be open and the champagne to be ready for us. The proprietor set the candelabra down and poured champagne for the 3 of us. As we sipped champagne, Frank invited me to buy any champagne that I liked. The china I liked turned out to be Lin Chase Winterbirds, and it cost roughly 3 times more than I'd ever spent on china in my life. When I saw the price, I was shocked. Frank then asked me how many place settings I'd like, and because the price was so much more than I was expecting, I thought I should be modest in my request. 4 would be wonderful, I said from the heart. Frank turned to the store manager and said, "The lady says she would like 12. Please ship them to the address."
I'm Cognac Wellerlane, and I am here with this fabulous author. And she wrote a fascinating book about her husband, Frank Perdue, tough man, tender chicken. tell my audience what inspired you to write this very, very provocative book.
Thank you so much. What really got me to write it was, it occurred to me looking back on Frank's life that what he really was a teacher. He built a company that, when it started with him and his father, it was 2,000 people. By the time of his passing, 19,000 people worked for Perdue Farms. And how do you get that many people to work together and work well? I think that he was a teacher. And I decided to write the book because I thought there was so much wisdom in how he went about growing that company.
He was a tough man, wasn't he? Not with you, though. I bet he wasn't tough with you. I'm sure he was. He treated you like a princess, I'm sure.
Well, you know, the funny thing is people would always tell me, you know, you must be one tough cookie to be able to stand up to Frank Perdue. But in fact, he just treated me like with kid gloves. He was always kind to me. I think he had a great ability to adjust how he treated people according to who they are, and I don't have any backbone at all, so it worked just great.
You know, I grew up with your husband. I used to watch television. I was glued to the TV set, and I would always watch, you know, all my major primetime programs on TV, and I'd always see your husband's commercial about Perdue chicken, how it was the best, and of course we ate Perdue. Perdue chicken was the best chicken in the world to eat.
You're my kind of woman. Love you dearly.
And the company is the company still under, I mean, do you still run the company? Are you on the top of all of this?
The family, it's a family-owned business, and yes, the family runs it.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's truly, truly wonderful. So you've kept it in the generation. Now you're running it. Do you have sons or daughters that are running it?
Jim Perdue is the one who runs it. And we do have, I think it's 5 members of the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, of the 4th generation are working in the company. Jim is 3rd generation.
3rd generation, I see.
Okay, so the 3rd generation, Jim Perdue runs it, and then there's 4 of the 4th generation running it. And that's kind of exciting because, you know, how many companies go 4 generations?
Not that many. People somehow mess it all up. You know, the children and the siblings, they're always fighting and no one can agree. But I'm happy to hear that the company is still going on 4th generation and it's prospering and it still is the best chicken out there.
You wouldn't believe how hard we work to make it the best. In fact, allow me to boast. I mean, we're all friends, right?
Absolutely.
One of the advantages of being a family-owned company is that we don't have to worry about each quarter and what the stockholders are going to say. So we were able to invest for 12 years in something that wasn't a payoff deal until it did pay off. We have learned how to produce chickens without low-dose antibiotics. Ours are antibiotic-free. And
it's wonderful.
But it took 12 years to get there.
I can imagine.
Well, because the fact is anybody can grow chickens without antibiotics. The only trouble is they die. So it took a lot of learning how to produce really healthy chickens without antibiotics, and we did it. Yay!
So you are the pioneers of organic. Really, you really are the pioneers of organic food, organic chicken, fresh, healthy, without chemicals, without any kind of antibiotics.
That's us.
That's really what, and that's probably why people from that generation live so long. You know, my grandmother lived to be in her 90s because she ate Perdue chicken.
Yay!
Yay! So tell my audience, what was your life with Frank Perdue? What was it like? Was it a glamorous life?
Well, yes.
We had to read the book, actually, right, to find that out.
No, but I'm going to agree with you. It was amazingly glamorous.
Was it really? I'm sure you must have got into every restaurant, every nightclub, was able to see every celebrity you could imagine. Am I right about that?
Well, A, you're right, but there's a PS to it, which is Frank really, really enjoyed living in his community, being close to the charities that he cared about. So he was a mixed person. He was very good with celebrities, but he was also good with his close friends, and he was a very unassuming man. It surprises people to know that a company that large, Frank Perdue would travel economy class, we would use the subways regularly. So
That's funny.
well, so there was plenty of glamour, and I loved it, but there was also plenty of being down to earth.
And being practical and frugal and not spending money needlessly if you don't have to, I'm sure.
Okay, a little inside story. I believe that we had the highest cobbler bill, shoe repair place, in Maryland because he just didn't buy new shoes. He would keep resoling them. And as for clothes, he would buy top of the line. But I also think that we had the highest reweaving bill in New York because there was this woman, Alice Zada, who would reweave clothes if, say, the elbows have gotten thin or the knees threadbare. And I'd just send the clothes off to be rewoven. He was very into being frugal and not wasting.
How marvelous. Oh my goodness, you really must miss him.
I do. There's nobody like him. I thought he was one of the few people who had it all because he was a successful businessman. He had a warm, loving family, and he was close to his community. So how many people have it all like that?
Not many. Tell my audience, I want you to tell my audience some of the celebrities that love to eat his chicken.
All right, one of them, and I hope I get the name right. I think his last name was Boggs, and he's a baseball player.
Okay.
And he had the absolute belief, and I'm afraid I'm going to confuse him with the congressman, so I'm not going to say his first name.
Okay.
Well, just because I don't want to get it wrong. But the good Mr. Boggs had the feeling that he had to eat Perdue chicken before a baseball game. And
How funny is that?
we thought that was just wonderful. I know that Johnny Carson and Frank were friends, and
Oh, lovely.
and I believe Johnny Carson ate Perdue chicken.
Who didn't eat it? Who didn't eat it? Okay. Now tell my audience if we want to find out more information about this book.
That is my favorite question
Yes.
in the wide world.
Where can we go? Is there a website? Can we buy it online? Tell my audience the information.
All right, all of the above. If they want to buy it directly from me, go to frankperduebook.com, and I hope they've got a pencil and paper, but otherwise, just remember, frankperduebook.com, and if you go there, I will autograph it for you. It's $20 a book, and then if you buy in quantity, it's much less. And I've had recently, a lot of people buy 10 or 20 copies for people in their business, but I've recently had a couple of orders for 200. I just misspoke, I'm sorry, for 100. And then I just got an order for 300 people who wanted to give this book to the people who worked for them.
Go.
So frankperduebook.com, or the easiest is to get it on Amazon. And that's actually cheaper, and I recommend it, but I can't autograph it for anybody if it's from Amazon. I love being with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we'll be back in a moment, darlings. Keep watching. More interviews coming up. Pink champagne kisses.
It's been a Crybaby Productions, darlings.